All right. Well, if there is anything you should know about the Trump administration, it's that they are great students of history. I'm sure they knew about the way the Romans crucified all of the Spartacus slave revolt members back in at the first century BC, 72 to 70. There was a great slave rebellion in Rome. Have you ever seen the great movie with Kirk Douglas? They have this in the movie. They crucified them on the Appian Way, the famous road out of Rome. But that is just one example of a long tradition of displaying criminals outside the palace or by the sides of roads. Vlad Tepes Dracul, who inspired the novel Dracula and the Dracula legend, was very well known for impaling people and eating dinner beside them as he put them on display, very often Ottoman Turks that he was at war with. And then on London Bridge, they used to put the heads of traitors on spikes from the 14th century to the 17th century. And now, our very own Trump administration. Good morning from the White House.
The birds are chirping and the bees are buzzing.
It's
Good
a
times in America.
lovely day. Lovely day for a very Orwellian display of criminal posters outside the White House. You have to remember, somebody not only thought of this, but executed it. We are so back.
We are so back.
We are so back. So, look, it might not have the flair of crucifying all of your enemies on the road out of town, but you just can't get away with that anymore. Although times are changing back, as they say. So give it a little time. Now, people who were not in those posters, at least from what I saw, maybe you saw that, Keaton, U.S. citizen children, including 4-year-old with cancer, taken to Honduras on mother's deportation flight, legal advocates say. Two siblings, ages 4 and 7, were flown out of the U.S. on their mother's deportation flight before attorneys could reach them, according to the National Immigration Project. I don't think they put posters of them in that grouping. Or how about this guy? He has a tattoo celebrating Real Madrid. That's a soccer team. His lawyer believes it's why he was deported. This guy is a professional soccer player. Or how about makeup artists mistakenly sent to hellish El Salvador prison with bloodthirsty gangsters? The gay makeup. Oh, wow, man, that guy. I'm glad they got rid of him. Wouldn't want to be living next door to that guy. He might do my flower beds. So he actually was seeking asylum for persecution for being gay and arrived at a scheduled immigration appointment. And they didn't just send him back to his country. He was from Venezuela. They sent this guy to CCOT for coming to a scheduled appointment. He had done nothing illegal. He had done nothing wrong. They didn't put his poster out there, presumably. So these are the people who are telling you that these are all criminals in these pictures. We don't know that. Some of them, I'm sure, are. I am just as sure, based on the record of this administration, that a lot of them aren't. Um, this is what I would call the holy shit, shelves are about to empty stunt.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They
Exactly. And
don't
even
want
if
they
they all
don't.
are, even if they all are, to make a show of arresting and jailing people is fascistic in and of itself. Like,
Sure,
you do law enforcement because you have to, right?
right.
You put people in jail if and when you have to for the safety of people around them. It's not something you make a big show out of. It's not something that you tout. It's not something you tweet out, pictures as Cash Patel did. Pam Bondi doesn't run to the camera to brag about, we will find you. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
the the fetishization of punishment is really what they're engaging in here.
Yeah.
And they're doing it
It's
because they're doing it for a lot of reasons. I think a part of them, just generally, I think they do genuinely like get off on it because I think they're
mhm.
sick, very sick people.
Yeah.
But
It's
also, it's because the shelves are about to empty. Like, this
right.
is it. This is what they're giving you. What the Trump administration is giving you is the perception of protection against people who want to beat you up. And these are the people who went on for years and years and years about how what fragile little snowflakes everyone else was. Whether they're wearing masks or whether they want safe spaces on campus, it's, oh, look at how weak you are. Look at how afraid you are of the world around you. All these people think about when they step out the door is who's going to run up on me and jump me and try, like,
Mhm.
obviously this is the only group of people who could actually be on board with this are people so paranoid and afraid of everything around them, in constant fear of a brown person, let's face it, coming up to them and trying to hurt them. I can't think of a more frightened way to go through life.
Well, this is something you do when you have a base made up of broken men who feel castrated and disenfranchised to
Right.
give them a substitute for meaningful power over their lives, to give them an illusion of power by
Right.
aligning themselves with abuse of a faceless other. Oh, look at these murderers and rapists. Maybe, maybe not. Like, what does that say about you? That is where you need to derive your sense of satisfaction, meaning, and self-worth.
Right.
But hey, man, they know their base. I can't say they're wrong. So here's John Leguizamo actually responded. These are fake charges without due process. You are lying, Caroline. 99% of immigrants are law abiding, loving, family oriented members of society. Stop spreading hate. Now, like I said, I can't say all the charges are fake. Based on the history, based on some of the people they've deported already, there's no doubt in my mind that some of these people are not guilty of any crimes. We know that the orders of retainment, I think they're called. I could be wrong about that. But ICE puts out orders for immigrants that they want detained.
Right.
I think 1 in 4 are wanted for a crime, even for the people that they're looking to lock up. I thought they were going to start with the criminals. No, not at all. Deported thousands with no due process, breaking into homes, cars, workplaces, even military facilities, terrorizing women and children, sending people with no criminal convictions to gulags for life, spending tens of millions in taxpayer money, including whatever this abomination costs. Where's Doge?
Right.
Where's
Yeah,
Doge?
exactly.
They should cost them to pull this stunt. And this is all you have to show for it 20, 30 guys. And by the way, since you're using war powers to justify your actions and methods, this is a violation of the Geneva Accords. It is. You're not allowed to display prisoners like that. So if you're going to invoke war powers, not that these guys really care. Kim Jong Un would blush. Who thought this was a good idea? I bet this was the sugar baby's idea. If I had to wager, um,
Yeah, I would guess so.
Biden Levitt seems like somebody who would come up with this in a brainstorm while laying next to her geriatric husband at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
It probably gave him a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh my
Exactly.
God! I've got Biden deported more. This is the funny part. Wonder whose idea this was. Maybe you should focus on the criminals instead of the asylum seekers. You people are fucking pathetic. You fuck up the economy, so all you have is deportations, and you aren't deporting more than Biden. That's what a lot of this is. When you see the 2, 4, and 7 year olds, I've told this story before. When Giuliani was the mayor, they denied it because it's illegal. But it was very obvious that the cops had a quota, that they had to meet a quota. Um, at that time, I saw people get ticketed for standing in their own doorway with a beer, where the cop argued you're on the street, even though they're clearly on their property. I had a police car do a U turn to come give me a ticket walking from a cab to my front door, literally across the sidewalk with a beer. You don't do that unless you're under pressure to show
Right.
that you're writing citations. That's a lot of what's going on with ICE. They're They're getting a lot of heat because it's an embarrassment to them that even with all this, they've drawn in support from other agencies. They're putting all this money in human resources, and they're down from Biden's deportation rate. So these ICE guys are just like 4-year-old with cancer, whatever,
Right.
whatever, deport them. So we have numbers on this. And actually, the number of deportations, even though you wouldn't think this because of the way they're playing up the deportations, have actually been going down even over the last few months. So 742 was the average under Biden in 2024, the full year 2024. So in February, 733. A little later in February, Valentine's Day, 693. By February 27th, down to is that 600? 600. Bounced up a little bit again, March 14th, 691. So overall, that is a 10.9% drop from Biden. So terrorizing people, completely upending communities, committing horrific violations of civil liberties to actually come in with less deportations than Biden, because you know what? You can't fix stupid with a crackdown. These people are stupid and incompetent. And as a result, even when they try to do something, they're not even able to do it at the basic level that people who are fundamentally technocrats are able to do it.
Well, I said they're not. Their concern is not so much with border security or immigration. Their goal is to create a police state.
Right.
And the immigrants are just the
and to get people to
scapegoat.
cheer for it.
Yes,
Yep.
and to yes, well, yeah, you have to have a scapegoat in order to build a police state because people don't volunteer to live under a police state. So you have to convince them that they need one, and the immigrants are the scapegoat they need to do that. Yeah.
All right, let's just finish up. So some of Trump's people are very happy with it. That is very powerful. Why did Joe Biden let all these people into the country? And why do Democrats continue to fly to other countries to advocate for their release? Do they really hate Americans that much? And the persistence simply says, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean that's who it's for. That's who it's for. In a way, it's the Fox News, MSNBCification of politics. Both of those organizations reflect a realization about 30 years ago that you could actually do better just ginning up a very specific niche group that will be fanatically devoted than to try to appeal to a lot of people. This is, hey, look at those guys. They think this is great. They think this is great. They don't question any narrative that you give them. The idea that this kind of an erosion of due process, even if you think these people completely deserve to be sent to CCOT without any due process, well, based on the argument they're making to the Supreme Court that once you're out of the country, the courts can't intervene. Well, yes, they can do that to you then, right? Because the administration admitted they deported Abrego Garcia mistakenly. They admitted that. It's not even something they're denying, right? So but they're arguing they don't have to bring them back because now a foreign country is involved. By that logic, they can take anybody.
Yes, and they want to be able to take anybody.
Right. Yeah. That is the purpose these immigrants are serving, because clearly, as we showed, once again, the numbers are actually down. And they're dropping since Trump got into office. Dr. Phil's not there to help out anymore. So they're all the way down to 661 per day from 742 under Biden. So what's this all about? Yeah, I think you're right. It's destroying the few legal protections that Americans have left. And civil libertarians have been saying this since the day they passed the Patriot Act. All it was going to take was an executive branch with the will to use it according to the implications that were always contained within it. You wait. They haven't invoked the Patriot Act yet, but they will.
Please clap.